Okay, 7th grade, here's our first lesson. We're analyzing the development of central ideas. So it's basically, what is the author trying to tell you? What is the main idea? So they might just not come out and say it. Sometimes it's the first sentence, last sentence, or even in the title. But you're just trying to figure out, what is the most important idea? What do they want me to learn from what I'm reading? Okay, so you're supposed to think about the central idea and supporting details even in cartoons. So here, they're searching for, it's saying paleontologists are searching for fossils that reveal more about the creature that lived in the past. So what is the central idea that they're trying to show you? So when I look at this cartoon and it's talking about paleontology, it's really the action that is happening. So they're showing me a paleontologist and he is currently with bones, like examining them. So if I were to circle, that would be the part that I would circle. Just take a little, yeah, mine's yellow, yours does not have to be yellow, it can be see-through, but just take a little circle and you're going to want to circle it. Here we go. This area is going to be the main idea. Okay, circle the parts of the picture and caption that support the central idea. So this is the part, I circled the part in the picture, and if I had to circle part of the caption that was explaining what I circled, let's see. It says, paleontologists search for fossils that reveal more about creatures that lived in the past. So the really important part is not that they just search for fossils, but what do they do when they, like, what is the purpose of doing that? So it reveals about creatures that lived in the past. Okay, now that we've circled that, we've got the central idea. They've given us information here, right? They say paleontologists help us to learn about dinosaurs in our past, and then they give us 2 details about the past. So a dinosaur bone shows the shapes of creatures from the past, and if you study fossils, that can reveal clues about creatures that lived in the past. Okay, that's how we know that that's what paleontologists do. You gave a central idea and you supported it. So that's what we're going to be doing when we're reading. Read the first 2 paragraphs, and they want to know what is the central idea and what are 2 details that support it. So as we read, if I see something that I think is going to be really important, I'm going to underline it. Because I know they're going to ask me for the central idea and 2 details. And it's really for paragraph 2, so I got to make sure I underline a lot in paragraph 2. Okay, now I can go back up and read. Deep sea diving is dangerous but a fascinating activity. Some people dive for sport, or some make a career out of it, and they're hunting for sunken treasure. These types of career divers fall into one of 2 categories. So this seems important because it looks like we're talking about treasure hunters, and these are the treasure hunters. So 2 categories. Those who want to study their discovery and those who want to sell their discovery. So I always think, what would I do? I would want to study, I think, just because I'm a teacher, but you might want to sell your treasures that you find. The divers who study sunken treasures are concerned, so these ones who study are concerned with preservation. All right, they want to keep everything safe. That seems important to me too, so I'm going to underline that. They locate, map, and study shipwrecks, and when they find a site, they're interested in using all of that information to form a story, right? By studying them, they learn things about the passengers. Okay, so they're not going to go into those who sell the treasures, only those who study. So the central idea of paragraph 2 is about those who are studying the treasures, right? So the goal of some deep sea divers, the ones that are studying. So what did we underline? And then I'm going to need 2 facts to support it. So I'm going to read the second paragraph again. The divers who study sunken treasure are concerned with preservation of the site. So what do they do to preserve the site? They locate it and study, and when they find a site, they're using the information to provide a story. Okay, using the information to provide a story about the ship. By studying artifacts, they learn many things about the passengers. So by studying artifacts, even that is important too. That would be our second supporting detail. They also learn more about those on the ship. Sometimes they can even learn why the ship sank. So there's a lot of underlining, but basically this is our main idea of paragraph 2. Then we have 1 detail, 2 details, 3 details. Okay? The divers who study sunken treasures are concerned with preservation of the site. So, what is the central idea? If they're concerned with preserving the site, what is their goal, right? Their goal is to gather, they're interested in using information. So there is to find and use information. So they want to find and use information they get from sunken ships. Okay, that's basically the goal of some deep sea divers. They're deep sea diving just because they want to find and use all the information that they can get from actually diving down there. Learn about the sunken ships. So our supporting detail, we could say, using information that the treasure provides from a story. You can form a story about the ships. The coins and jewelry they actually already used, so we don't need to use that one. Or we could say they even learn why a ship sank. I actually like the ship sinking one, so the divers can even learn how the ship sank. All right. Close reading. We're going to continue on. It says, continue reading about deep sea treasure hunters. Use the close reading hint to help you. All right, they mentioned 2 central ideas. So we have to circle the first one and underline the second one. So what do we think the 2 main ideas are as we're going through? The deep sea divers pursuing profit must, these are the ones who want to sell, must carefully research their sites to make sure it's legal. Well, yeah, that's going to be a huge idea, so that must be our first one. All right, we're going to circle it already, right? They have to make sure that it's legal for them to take it from the location and preserve artifacts. Okay, I'm going to do the whole thing because it really is important that you guys' circle will probably look even better than this, but it is important to see that this first sentence, that's a main idea. If they're pursuing profit, one of the main things they have to worry about is it has to be legal and they have to preserve it. Okay? For deep sea divers, the measure of success is the dollar value, right? Because it's how much money you can get, which is not a main idea, but it is important. Whether deep sea divers wish to study or collect, right? You're getting money or you're studying it. You have to obey laws, travel in teams, dive in teams, and be careful at all times. Yep. That is a main idea because it doesn't matter whether you're studying or collecting it, they all have to do this. So the second one they want us to underline. So we underline. We must respect the power and mystery of our oceans if we want to uncover hidden treasures. So which choice explains more about the central idea? So which sentence provides a supporting detail for respecting the treasure? So one of the hints I've always thought about when I get a question like this, it says, what's supporting the idea that we must respect oceans and treasures? So you need to go look and see which one is showing respect, okay? And it usually will even have the idea behind it. When you read it, you go, oh, that's respectful. So some divers spend a lot of time searching for sunken treasures. Is that respectful to the ocean? Not really. It's just they spend time searching for sunken treasure. That's just what they do with their time, okay? Deep sea diving involves a great deal of physical training. That's showing respect for the divers, but it's not really showing respect for the ocean and the treasures, right? Divers must identify sites that are legal before they collect artifacts. So that is actually showing respect for the ocean and the artifacts. So that's the strongest one right now. I'm going to highlight that one. Profit is the main motivation for some deep sea divers. That is, but when you think of profit, you're not really thinking of respect. So we're going to stay with C. Explain how the supporting detail given by the author and central ideas. All right, so basically they're kind of asking us, hey, what would you say the central idea is? Can you restate it? So kind of what I would say is that the author's main central idea about the divers who want to profit is, and then we can go back up and see what we circled, right? That they must carefully research and obey laws, right? I'm kind of taking from both central ideas. They must make sure it is legal, preserve them, and obey laws. They must make sure that what they are doing is legal. They must preserve artifacts, and they must, right here we said, obey laws. The supporting details, right, because it says explain the supporting details and how they develop the central idea. The supporting details help because they list more about how to do this. Remember, they don't just say make sure it's legal. They have to make sure that the artifacts don't corrode, and they have to be in dive-in teams and careful at all times. It's the details state that the treasure can't corrode. It also states you want to try not to use it. The passage also states that the divers have to be in teams and careful at all times. Okay, how does that relate to our main idea of they have to make sure what they're doing is legal and that they preserve artifacts? Both show how to correctly get artifacts legally and carefully. Right? All those details are saying, hey, you got to be in a team. You got to make sure that you can preserve it. You got to obey the laws. You have to make sure that the treasure's not going to corrode. So those supporting details really help with your central detail for that one. And that's going to be everything you need for the very first part of this project and this article. So we'll stop here and then we'll continue on. We'll do another lesson to continue on to the Commander SUNY Williams.